What's going on, guys? It's Eric Black here with Revolver Underground doing another Skype interview, and I'm here with Travis McClung, and we're going to talk a little bit about what he's doing, what's happening in his world, all that good stuff. Travis, how are you doing, man?
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing
Well,
well now. Yes, well now. Had some technical difficulties, but I think we're moving forward. Tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are.
I'm an R&B soul pop singer. Been singing my entire life. Started out singing in church at about the age of 6 or so in Texas, right outside Dallas, Texas. I'm from Garland, Texas. So I grew up doing that. I had an older sister that did theater, and she got me into that. So from a young age, I was performing. Ended up moving up here to New York City, where I live now, in 2009, and went to college here. Did theater in college, and along the way, kind of discovered my love for songwriting and being myself on stage, and as opposed to playing a character. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now, and writing. Just released 2 new singles and finished a tour, a U.S. tour. So yeah, looking to do more.
So you just said that you finished up a U.S. tour. Where did you go, and what did that consist of?
It started out in San Francisco, and then we drove down like through California. We had a few days in California, then like through the South, went to Texas, got to perform in Dallas, which was nice, and then up through like the East Side, went up to New York and ended in Chicago.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah, it was good. I was the opening act for this British R&B singer who I admired before I ever toured with him. His name is Daly, and I think we were a good pairing together. Yeah, it was really good. Had some big crowds, somewhere up to like 1,400 people.
Wow.
So definitely got some good exposure on the tour, and I think we were well received.
So I know this is kind of a loaded question, but would you? And I know there's different elements to it. I know that there's a whole big thing. But would you rather do a smaller intimate crowd or stay with the larger 1,400 and up crowds? I mean, is there a preference on for you? I mean, I know a show is a show, but do you?
Honestly, no, there's not really a preference for me. I do think, though, it's easier to perform in front of 1,400 people than a room of 50 people.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's much more intimidating to get in front of a small group. I've always felt that way because when it's a big crowd, I think you kind of just like you look out and it's like the vastness. I do like, though, the smaller intimate crowds for doing like an acoustic type show, piano or just guitar. I love stuff like that. So I feel like that's one of the most honest ways to perform, small crowd.
So how did you get into the music scene? Was there something in your life when you were younger that you said, no, this I have to do this? Were you brought up with it? I mean, what was it for you?
Well, I grew up singing country a lot, being from Texas,
Yep.
and did a bunch of like country gigs throughout the Dallas area. Even did a show in Branson, Missouri one summer as like a young kid. I was probably about 8 years old. But I think I grew up listening to Mariah Carey. I always loved like live music, and definitely had an interest in it. But I guess I didn't know that that was the path I wanted to do because I did so much theater and I loved theater so much that I kind of just stuck with that and ended up doing that in college, which I'm very glad I did. I got a lot of training out of that musical theater experience that I can definitely use on stage as an R&B artist. But yeah, I grew up listening to it. My mom had always wanted me to record music, but I never really knew that was what I wanted to do until I was a freshman in college in New York, and I was cast in a pop musical. And the producer of that musical, who's now my manager, he called me one time. I think it was a day after we finished the show. And he said, "Hey, have you ever thought about recording or trying to do pop music?" I was like, no, not really. I guess I could try it. And he's like, well, I'll come pick you up in the city and take you to this recording studio because I know this great producer. And so I went and did that and was really hesitant, thinking I didn't know if I'd like it or not. And I got in the booth and sang. I think I sang like Maroon 5 and Gavin DeGraw just to show the guy my voice. And
Right.
he was like, oh, wow, like I think we could do something with this. And then from there, I've just been growing and falling in love with it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you like writing about most?
I think I tend to write about. I had an epic breakup about 2 years ago. Like my high school sweetheart and college girlfriend. Like she moved up to New York with me from Texas, and I wrote a lot of music out of that relationship coming to an end. Um, and I think I like to write about the changes going on and that happen from like 20 to 21 to 22 to 23 because I feel like I'm 23 now, so in my early 20s I just feel like every single year I feel like I'm just discovering so many new things about myself, and yeah, that's what I like to write about. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That's so kind of like just basically real life experiences, something stuff that happens in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, of course I like to write about, like, I have a song called Party for Two, like basically like loosen up and like come over and come over to my place and relax. Like you don't have to, no pressure on it. Just like easy stuff like that. I like fun stuff too. That's just, simple. But yeah, I want my music to have a message and I want people to relate to my music. And even on this tour, I have this one song, Losing You. A lot of people after the show told me they related to it and got something out of it and that they liked the lyrics and that they could really feel what I was going through on stage. Like the most fulfilled I felt as an artist because my own stuff, people were able to relate to what I was saying through my music. And I mean, that's the whole point, right? Of
Yeah.
what we're trying to do as artists. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's an incredible that I didn't necessarily feel out of theater because I'm playing another character. So it's really amazing to stand on stage as myself, and it's just so honest to me.
And I think too, it's for me at least when I'm on stage, and I think for most most artists and bands and all that good stuff that when you are on stage and you see or you hear these other people singing your songs, even if it's like one person just singing your song, that right there in itself is worth all of the fight that you've had to do to get to where you're at. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, I don't think it gets much better than that.
Yeah.
That's like, how do you know the song?
Yeah.
And like, just exciting to see that something I did, it reached to people and they knew it and they came in and saw it. So
Absolutely.
it's really cool.
Best town or city that you have performed in.
We were in. I really liked Philadelphia. I've toured there twice now, and every time the crowd has been just like huge and just so alive and reacting and paying attention. And especially being an opener, it's like, sometimes like the audience comes in, they're like, oh, we want to see the headliner, and they kind of just don't want to have anything to do with the opener.
Right.
But they were so, like, just from the jump off, like the second I came on stage, they were engaged, and when you feel the audience feeling you, like it's just nothing fuels your fire more than that. And Philadelphia, both times I've been there, has been really, really great audience. And I think both of them were like a Monday night or like a Tuesday night. So like a lot of people probably have work the next morning, but they're still out there late at night coming to see live music because they love the music.
Yeah. Speaking of live music, you've been doing this for a little while. You've been involved in it. You know about the live music scene. Do you think the music industry is really weird right now? It's still really weird. It's been weird for a while, but it's still really weird. Do you think as an indie artist or as an up and coming artist that it is easier now to be an artist than it was, say, 10 years ago? Or do you think the struggle is still the same, just in a different way? Does that make sense?
I mean, I'm sure. I think the struggle has always been there, but I would say it's getting harder now, and at the rate that it's going, I think it's just going to be harder and harder for indie artists to break into anything big. I think I don't know, a lot of success now in terms of like getting signed to the label or getting your stuff on the radio so people can hear it. I think it's become more about the money and, oh, how many Twitter followers do you have, and kind of coming off as that big star. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know. It's everything in mainstream music, I feel like, has become like that. And before, record labels would sign new artists and then they'd put a budget behind them to develop them as an artist because they believe in their talent. So they'd get someone raw, like, Aretha Franklin was in Detroit.
Yep.
And she got picked up and they put her in some classes. They taught her some like basic things about stage presence. They had her work with a voice teacher and pushed her to help develop her as an artist, and I don't think that happens anymore. I think the label is wanting you to come ready. Yeah. They don't want to they want all your music done. They want all your branding done, your pictures. So if you're some person that doesn't have any backing and you're from a small town and then it's Texas, I think it's harder and harder to get known. So because the labels don't show that interest unless you have your numbers up there on YouTube and Twitter and you have Instagram followers. And I just don't think the music shouldn't be about that.
Yeah,
Because
and I agree too. I think that I think it's all becoming about a show, about
uh,
something that they're still stuck. The labels are still stuck in this template that's been around for 50 years, 50 plus years, 70 years, whatever you want to call it, and it's still kind of working, but it's not really what music is. And which
no,
is why I'm in the indie scene. I love the indie scene because it's still raw. It's still it hasn't been tainted
right,
by that industry, and I
right,
feel like I feel like there, especially here in Nashville, there's a big surge in indie music, indie performers.
mm,
There's a large percent of them that just don't put up with that crap anymore. There's a lot of labels here. There's a lot of label reps here, but
mm,
the indie scene here doesn't care. They're just like, you know what, we are who we are. We can play in this. This is Music City. We can play
right,
anywhere in this town we want. We may not make a lot of money, but we don't need
right,
the labels to play here. We don't need the labels to do with all this stuff. We can actually do a lot of it here and network outside of that.
exactly.
Which brings me into my next transition. Do you find that networking is a huge key in what you're doing in the music industry, but in life in general, just to get to the next level?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think a lot of it, people's success has to do with right place, right time. Being at a party and meeting someone. Oh, could like a producer? Could maybe we do a session together? Just or anyone seeing you in the audience and getting to meet them after if they're a producer or they have connections with something. I think the networking is extremely important. It probably always has been,
Hmm.
but definitely in terms of getting in with a label and getting some like backing behind you. I think you have to be reaching out. I think you have to answer your phone all the time. You have to call people. Like you got to make it happen for yourself. Because I think at this point in the game, for me, I'm realizing that talent isn't what's going to get you to the next level. I
Yeah.
definitely think it's very,
Yeah.
very important. But like you got to make things happen for yourself and take control over what you can. But I mean, it is good because I don't want to bash Twitter followers or anything like that because I think that's a way of networking. That's a way of marketing yourself and it's free.
Yeah.
So you can use YouTube, and record on your laptop and do your original song and show people that's free, free marketing for yourself.
Do you think that the phrase any show is a good show is still accurate these days, or do you need to be a little bit, not necessarily for you, but just for an artist in general, do you need to be a little bit more choosy about the shows that you do, or is it just in the beginning, just do the shows?
I think just do the
Yeah,
shows. Absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, get yourself out there to whoever you can.
yeah,
You know, I
absolutely.
don't think, especially if you're trying to break in, no one's above any kind of audience or performance. I mean, yeah, I think anytime you can get on a stage and show people what you have to offer as an artist, do it.
Yep, absolutely.
Definitely.
Let's talk about a little bit about what's coming up in the future here. Is there anything that you're working on right now that you're really excited about?
Yeah, I'm writing new music. Gonna work with this really great producer before the holidays to do another song. I just did a song with him back in like late summer and was really happy with what we came up with because I went in the studio with him. He had shown me a bunch of beats he had, which I like to do and write to that. But I really like to go into the studio and make something from the ground up. So we came in. I told him that he showed me some tracks, and I liked them. But I was like, can we try something like just totally from scratch? And he started like playing some things on the piano, and I think we wrote a really good song. So I'm gonna work again with him. And I guess the next goal for me is to release an EP because I have 2 singles out on iTunes, Spotify as well. So that's coming up. Releasing a music video for one of those songs, "Losing You," and possibly doing a big show in January, but haven't confirmed it yet, so I can't say it. But I'm thinking we're gonna get to do it, so it's pretty exciting. My fingers are definitely crossed, and I'm thinking about it a lot. So
That's good. That's good. I always
yeah,
there's that initial I don't know what you're gonna call it, happiness or whatever you want to call it. You just want to tell everybody, and you just know you can't. It's very frustrating, but
right.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, I
That's
told my
yeah.
mom knows, but that's it. I'm like, Mom, you can't tell anybody else.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Travis, where can we find your music other than iTunes and Spotify? Where can we find you online?
YouTube.com/Travis McClung. Or Travis M191 is my YouTube. Travis M191. And yeah, I'm putting up I'm shooting some new covers and original songs on Monday. So those will be up like within the week. And yeah, need to put out some new stuff to show my growth.
Travis, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. There is a lot of good stuff, everybody, coming from Travis. You can find out more, travismcclung.com. Go look at that. Go check out the music. Go check out the pictures, the tour. If he's coming to your town, you have to go see it. I've seen some stuff coming out from him, and it looks like he puts on a really good show. If you're ever in Nashville, man, you got to let me know because I'm going to come see you.
I definitely will.
Absolutely. It's going to be great. Follow him. You're pretty much on all the social media, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, all the same thing, at Travis McClung.
Cool. Go follow him. Go find out what's going on with him. Get to know him. He's going to be something that is going to be amazing. He's already amazing, but it's more to come. So, Travis, thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, man. We will talk again soon, I'm sure.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Guys, I'm Eric Black. This is Revolver Underground. Peace.
That just happened. Want more? Check out revolverunderground.com.